Hi guys, good morning. Welcome back to Sash Factor Facebook Live Chat Series, your online feel-good pageant show. Today is a beautiful Thursday morning here in Manila, Philippines, and we are so blessed to have another international guest right now. Now, not just an international guest, but a lovely echo angel for that matter. So, I will no longer give a very long introduction because I know that you've been waiting for her. Here she is, the newly appointed Miss Earth USA, Miss Lindsey Marie Coffey, live on Sash Factor all the way from Pennsylvania, USA. Hello, Lindsey.
Hi, Adam. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much.
Yes, so it's my pleasure to do this interview with you ever since you were recently appointed. Oh, sorry, you were recently crowned. Sorry, I
Yes.
kept saying, sorry, I
No
stand
worries.
corrected. No, you weren't
No
appointed.
worries.
I'm getting confused because so many
No
virtual.
worries. And
so many.
actually, I'm in New York right now, so I'm not in my hometown of Pennsylvania. I'm back in the New York City. So I usually reside here, and Pennsylvania is my hometown. So I have a little switch up too.
So, how is everything there in New York right now? I'm glad everything's slowly going back to normal.
It is slowly going back to normal. However, everyone is walking masks and it's not as crowded. As you may have known, New York City is one of the highly populated tourist destinations in the world. So it's odd to see that there are not many tourists here and there's not many people out and about. So that is very odd to see. And as well, the restaurants, we've actually moved our restaurants into the streets so we can have people sitting outside to eat. So there's less parking, there's less roadways for you to actually drive down because all the restaurants shifted from indoor to outdoor. So that was kind of crazy to see.
Hmm. Wow. I'm glad that you guys are the entire New York City. Probably it has something to do with your very hardworking and responsible mayor.
Yes.
Are you really are really doing a lot of steps to really beat
Oh,
or
absolutely.
contain the virus?
Absolutely. Everyone is adhering to all of the safety guidelines and regulations. People are being very respectful of it as well. And also with my job, I model full time. So I just had a shoot today, and everyone on set was very conscious of what they were doing. Everyone had to stay 6 feet apart. Whenever I wasn't shooting, I had to put a mask on, and everyone else had a mask on. And whenever we had lunch, everyone sat on opposite ends of the table. So everyone is honestly following the guidelines and we're doing a really good job. So I'm proud of my city and my country for that.
All right. So before we continue, can we give a shout out to all our viewers who are watching right now? First and
Yes.
foremost, your very beautiful fan admin Linel Valenciano is currently tuned in right now. Hi Linel, thank you for making this interview possible. Yes,
Thank
so
you, Danielle.
Linel,
Thank you so much.
I'm I'm always eternally grateful to Linel for hooking me up with all her pageant queens, and
She works hard. She does.
yeah, she is really hardworking. I mean, Philippine pageantry will be so dead without her because she hooks us up with all of you guys out there. So can also give a shout out to Sian Manalo. Hi Sian. Rafa Delphin. Oh, Rafa Delphin is also a very respected pageant blogger. He's also a Filipino, but he's based in Europe. I'm not sure in
Okay.
Europe or in the US, but he's living abroad. He's also a very respected pageant blogger. I also look up to him in terms of his thoughts about pageantry. So hello, Sir Rafa. Justin Alexandra Works back is also watching. Okay, Rafa is saying he can't wait to interview you very, very soon as well.
Thank you,
So,
Raf.
Raf, Sian is already throwing you a very fiery question to probably for sort of an icebreaker question. Who will you vote very, very soon? Joe Biden or Donald Trump? But let's get that. I'll have you answer that question
Okay.
a later while. So, how are you feeling right now, Lindsay? What's your current mindset?
So with everything just Miss Earth-wise, it's been overwhelming, but in the best sense of the word. So we were in Florida last week shooting for Miss Earth, the pageant, and we had the whole team together. So it was really nice actually getting to see everyone in person and really getting to meet them and build a relationship. I was honestly ecstatic whenever we were all just in the same room, just working together. So that kind of calmed me down a little bit because I'm brand new to pageantry. So going into all of this, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to expect. So having everyone in the same room with me really kind of calmed my nerves, settled me down. It became a little less overwhelming. So it was really great. So right now I'm in a great headspace. I'm really excited. I'm motivated. And honestly, I've never wanted to be more proactive now than I have ever in my life. So I'm in a good place right now.
Does that help? Does it help that the current situation there in New York, as you've said earlier, is already slowly going back to normal? So at least now you can do a lot of things when it comes to preparing for your upcoming competition.
The term normal, so it is normal in a sense as people can go out to restaurants and kind of interact in a responsible way. But there are some restaurants, some stores that haven't fully gone back to operating level. But we do have some nail salons open, gyms are open, but again, they have like a maximum capacity. So this is our new normal. So everything is kind of opening up where we can at least have a little bit of that in our lives. So I have been able to be blessed to go to the gym, kind of work through my stress and kind of clear my mind. Even yoga studios have been open, so I've been grateful for that. So things have been able to help me cope, and I've had resources to get me through all of this.
I'm glad to hear that. Wait, Sir Rafa Delphine has a comment here. He completely differs with with what I just said. That he says Bill De Blasio is the worst mayor of NYC
There's a lot of
ever.
controversy with him. There is.
Well, I think. Do you think he must still be doing something right, considering that at least New York was able to flatten the curve?
Absolutely. That's why I believe everyone is doing their part. And despite one person's opinion, it's not just one person, it's a team. So you always have a team behind you. So the entire city government and the officials are all working together to combat this. So I really am proud of my city for doing that.
Mm-hmm. So so how are you? As we all know, the Miss Earth pageant will go virtual this year. How are you preparing for the upcoming competition?
I'm prepared for it similarly with the Miss Earth USA pageant. Before I knew it was going virtual, I of course had a slightly different mindset, but it didn't change too much. So whenever the virtual pageant was coming up, I go to the gym quite often. So I train at least maybe 5 times a week, and I eat healthy, and I will just keep an open space everywhere I go, just so I don't feel kind of enclosed and cluttered. So I just try and keep all of my surroundings very minimal as well. So if I have a busy day planned, I will schedule everything exactly so I know exactly what I'm going to do, because the key is just not to really stress. And stress honestly does so many like awful things to your body. It can cause so many symptoms that you would never associate with stress in the first place, or realizing that's what is causing all of those issues. So really, I just kind of focused on planning, breathing, really clearing my mind, being stress free, and like taking one step at a time in order to kind of work through the virtual pageant on my own. That was
All right, all right. So, uh, so does that include checking out studios, photo shoot studios, and other venues where you could be showcasing your catwalk skills or doing your video presentations for the upcoming pageant?
So where I filmed everything for Miss Earth USA, I did all by myself. I scouted by myself. I filmed by myself. So it was very stressful and overwhelming. So for Miss Earth, whenever we were shooting in Florida, I was so grateful to have the entire team with me to do this with me. So I wasn't alone. So we ended up finding honestly really beautiful places to film in. So I'm really excited for you guys to see that. So I really hope you tune in November 29th. Honestly, we kind of associated each look with the space behind us in the background. I am so excited. So I think you guys are going to love it.
Do you think? I'm glad that you're having that kind of same enthusiasm in what you're doing right now compared if let's say you'll be competing under a traditional format.
Yes.
Yeah,
It is,
because
I was going to say it is unfortunate I will not have that traditional format because, as I said, I am new to pageantry. I will never have that on stage crowning moment or really have that bonding with the other girls. So I will be missing out on a lot of that. But at the same time, we're making history. So I'm really happy to be a part of that.
all right. So since you mentioned it already that you are a newbie in pageantry, can you share to us a little bit about yourself? Like, can you share some interesting, little fun facts about you, like in terms of age, height, interests, hobbies,
Okay.
for the benefit of our viewers who are watching right now?
Oh, of course. So yes, I am 28. So I just aged out of competing for the Miss Earth USA. So this was my final year. Everything kind of, the stars aligned. It felt like I was meant to do this. So it worked out really well. I am 5'9", 5'9.5". So I am quite tall. And I also learned a lot of people say that they're 5'9" with heels. I've never heard that term before. I always just say how tall you are when you're flat foot. So I'm 5'9", foot, and very tall. I've been an athlete my entire life, so that's why I'm very into health and fitness. I played every sport growing up from volleyball, cheerleading, gymnastics, track, soccer, tennis, swimming. Honestly, so many. I played baseball, and I was the only girl on an all-boys baseball team, so that's a fun fact. And I did that for a couple years. And I grew up in the country in Pennsylvania, so my next door neighbors were cows, and there was not much to do except hang out with the cows and play sports. So I had a great upbringing because compared to kids in the city, they have a different they have a different childhood. They don't really go outside and play. They don't go in the woods and explore. So I was very grateful to have that growing up. And in terms of studying, I was always a great student. I always had A's throughout school, and it was one of those. I enjoyed school, and a lot of kids they felt one way or the other. So I always loved school, and I was always involved in a lot of extracurricular activities. And I was always president of every club. So I was captain of my cheerleading squad, captain of my track and volleyball, president of the student council. Since I a degree in political science, so I've always had an interest in politics and law. So, and then whenever I went on to college, I was actually part of the pre-law program, and then I dropped the pre-law program to focus on modeling. And that is why I am hoping to get my JD in the future, since I put that on hold all those years ago. So that is one of my goals that I'm hoping to get here soon. But that is a little bit about me. I hope you guys learned a little something or heard something that you hadn't read or heard before. So I hope that was interesting.
That's quite a lot.
It is.
I mean, for sure, you would have gone through with 3 pages in your resume
Yes,
if you would
definitely.
list down everything you just said. Wow.
Definitely. That was a short little timeline from childhood to university that you just heard.
Yeah, you already mentioned why you got into law, what made you interested to take up that course, how
Yeah.
probably the reason why you got into pageantry was because of your modeling experience, like you said earlier.
No, actually, that is not the reason. I don't know if you know this, but the modeling industry doesn't take too kindly to the pageant industry. They're not on the best terms. So when I first had my very first pageant in November 2019, my agency did not approve of it. So eventually I ended up switching agencies, and the agency I'm with now, whenever I told them about Miss Earth USA, they were absolutely thrilled. So I'm so grateful that they supported me on that. But typically the modeling industry does not really associate with the pageant industry. The only reason I got into pageants is because I found out that Miss Earth has a platform that aligns with my exact priorities. So I was very intrigued because I stand for everything that Miss Earth USA stands for, and that is what caught my attention. That's exactly why I wanted to do this, is because environmental protection has always been a passion of mine.
Ooh, so now you're talking.
Yeah.
Oh, how is it important that you compete in a pageant system that you truly believe in?
I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that?
How is it important for someone like you to compete in a pageant system that you truly believe in?
I feel that is absolutely crucial. Again, as I'm new, I do not know many of the reasons why girls enter pageants. I have learned a few terms, and a lot of the girls seem to compete just because they want to win something or they want to collect sashes and titles. I never knew that was a thing. I truly believe only accomplish things and really put yourself out there for things that you're passionate about and have a genuine passion about it and a sincerity about you and about the cause. So I truly believe if you don't have a passion for environmental protection and climate action, then you should not be in the Miss Earth system, because this this is what I enjoy about the pageant Miss Earth system compared to other systems. They actually stand for something. They have a strong, solid, fundamental advocacy that people know about. So when you think of Miss Earth, you think environmental protection, and all the girls that align with that align with those priorities. So I completely believe you have to have that solid, fundamental background into wanting to achieve environmental protection as well.
Does it help that, because I read up about you, you are a vegetarian. Does it help that you were a vegetarian before when you were younger? So that's why it all spilled over until you grew up. That's why you have this love for our environment.
So with vegetarianism, I declared myself a vegetarian when I was 8 years old. That is very young to declare yourself a vegetarian because you're still really trying to understand the world and understand the food industry. So my reason for being a vegetarian at that age was because I honestly love animals with all of my heart. I wanted to be a veterinarian so I could just help as many animals as I could, but I didn't have it in me. If I had to euthanize a pet, I wouldn't be able to do it. I'm not strong enough for that. So I commend all our veterinarians out there. But I adore animals and I want to fight till with give everything I have in order to fight for animal rights and animal protection as well. So I'd like to do that with my law degree also. So that is what kind of pushed me into vegetarianism. And then as I grew older, I realized how much being a vegetarian helps the environment, because how much of water is wasted in the beef industry, in the meat industry. And there are so many pesticides in our soil, in our crops. So if you end up choosing organic and eat an organic vegetarian lifestyle, you are helping the environment tremendously. And I learned all of that. And I would never have thought that for myself, because that's not something typically people read about or go out of their way to read about. So that's also why I believe having a firm climate action education to be introduced in your school systems as well. So we can target our youth at an early age to teach them about the effects of everyday life on the environment.
Wow, I just asked you about being a vegetarian, and wow, you were able to connect
Yeah,
that to our
sorry.
environmental issues. No, that's great. That's
I just
great. I
talk a
mean,
lot. I
wow.
just go on and on.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, come on, you're a lawyer, so you're so used to talking and speaking, so and articulating your thoughts cohesively in public. So yes, wow,
Thank
I'm
you.
very, very impressed. So I'm also impressed that you are doing a lot of charity work on your spare time. In fact,
Yes.
you're volunteering, you're an advocate for these three organizations that you are that I just read up on you. It's Away, and then Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership and the Humane Society. And then I found a picture of you of one of you doing volunteer work for a charity organization. Can you tell us more about it? With I'll flash the
Okay.
picture here first.
Yes, that is,
There.
if you see below, the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership. That is the organization that I was working on in that photograph. So as you can see, we had vests on, reflector vests. We were picking up litter on the roadways, and we weren't even just picking up litter, we were weeding. So anytime we saw a tree line system, we would go through and remove the weeds just to make that street look beautiful. So we really took environmental awareness and put it in not only picking up the garbage and the litter that is harming the environment, but also trying to make it look beautiful by de-weeding and planting flowers and planting more trees. So I love the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership because every time you do volunteer, you have a different task every time. Sometimes you will paint over graffiti, which doesn't make your city, look very good. So you kind of want to clean that up. And then you'll have days where you're planting flowers in the garden. Then you'll have days where you're picking up litter. So in that photo, we were more so focused on picking up the litter along the roadways. And you would be surprised how much litter is just flooding the streets of your city. And surprisingly, half of all the litter in the world are cigarette butts. Cigarette butts, it is so easy to dispose of, but everyone just would flick it out of their car window or throw it on the ground and put it out. That is considered littering, and a lot of people don't associate littering with throwing your cigarette butt on the ground.
Oh, all right. Yeah, yeah. There's just so much litter.
Yeah, a lot of litter.
Everywhere we go, people are not mindful. Even when we even go to the beach, you'll just see all these plastic bottles,
Yep.
utensils floating around while
Yes.
doing that. Is it because of was it a certain moment or scenario in your life before that triggered you to be really but that triggered you to be really environmentally friendly as you grow older?
It's hard to pinpoint exactly because I've had a lot of situations in my life that opened my eyes. But ever since I was young, before I even understood the world and the environment, I joined the Adopt a Highway program, as you can also see below, which is where you adopt a mile of roadway and you keep it clean. So I would pick up litter on the side of my roadway whenever it would get
Oh,
overcrowded.
sorry.
Oh, no worries, overcrowded with trash. So I was completely involved and really mindful about the environment without really understanding the seriousness and the impact of our actions. So moving forward, as I grew older, I started to learn about the environment and the effects of daily behavior and the effects of big corporations and manufacturers have on the planet. It's astronomical. The effects are completely devastating to our environment and our ecosystems, and we have significant biodiversity loss all from our hands. So as I started to travel and I started to see a bunch of different changes in our environment with not just the flora but the fauna, so there were so many plant and animal species that were disappearing. So as I grew older and I saw all of these changes, I knew there was something that we had to do.
All right. So, how do you feel with everything that's going on right now? Like, as we speak right now, wildfires are raging in Oregon and even some parts of California right now.
Yes,
So, for you, do you think global warming is something? Do you think global warming
absolutely.
that has something to do with this? This is the reason
Absolutely.
why the U.S. keeps experiencing this type of environmental situation.
Yes, we have had more significant wildfires, more devastating wildfires in these past 4 or 5 years than we've had really in history. We've had more frequent wildfires. And the reason for that is attributed to global warming because with warmer temperatures, we have less frequent winds, we have changes in precipitation patterns, all affecting more and creating more wildfires. So 100% global warming is one of the major causes of the increase in wildfires.
Yeah, yeah. I wanna ask you a follow-up question, but there's a question here from Ronald de los Reyes, who's currently tuning in right now. From your previous answer about picking up litter due to your advocacy, what can you say about the litter that disposable face masks create nowadays because of this pandemic?
Yes.
How can we how can we solve it?
So, Ronald, that is a good question because I'm sure as you ask this, you've seen there are so many medical face masks and even hand sanitizer bottles thrown out, not just on the roadways, but in our waters. You will see face masks floating in our water system that probably got there from overflooded sewage line and it just kind of poured into the ocean. The only way that we can stop this is just to stop littering and to be mindful. You have to dispose of your products properly, or you're going to have an adverse effect on the environment. A lot of people don't understand that every even small to large thing that you do will have a great impact. And I think you're frozen. Am I frozen? Can you actually hear me? I don't know what happened. I think you're frozen. I just want to check to see if I'm frozen. I'm so sorry. Let me see.
Hi, what happened to Lindsey? Okay,
There we go. I don't know what happened.
so I don't know what happened. Something sort of something to do with my Wi-Fi here in the
Okay.
Philippines. But yeah, just in case this happens again, just keep talking. I'll try to keep coming back. Yeah,
Okay, no worries.
so sorry in advance for the unstable Wi-Fi connection we have here in the
Yeah.
Philippines.
We're
I'm so
across the world.
yeah, sorry. Yeah. So as you were saying about the litters, about the hospital
Yes.
waste.
We've seen an influx in these products is because we had an influx in supply and demand. So that is why we are seeing a lot of these in our roadways and in our waterways. But the only way to find a solution is just to not litter. You have to dispose of your items properly. Without doing so, you're actually causing a significant impact on your environment around you and worldwide. So a lot of people are not mindful, and that's what we really have to bring to attention is to have that attention to detail and to be environmentally conscious and aware of your actions. So the only way that we can really solve that is just dispose of your items properly and learn of the effects if you do not. So that will kind of deter you from disposing them improperly.
Hmm. So going back to my next question, follow-up question to the wildfire question that I asked you earlier. Ronald Reyes also has a follow-up question. Year after year, there are several wildfires that wreak havoc in the West Coast. So what can we do to prevent or minimize these wildfires?
Well, thank you, Ronald, for that question. Aside from the obvious of combating climate change and reducing our atmospheric temperatures, to kind of focus on something a little bit more attainable, we can cut down the bush in our overcrowded and overrun wildlife. So a lot of that is catching fire and burning very rapidly because it is overgrown and the maintenance is poorly managed. So if we can cut down if we cut down that bush, we will be able to minimize the spread and the rapidness of the spread as well with our wildfires. But a lot of the time, unless we create certain safe zones, a lot of the time it's going to reflect back onto combating global warming. But there are safety and security measures that you can take to deter the catastrophic effects of a wildfire. But in the long run, it is going to come back to climate change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, as it is, you come from a country that is considered a superpower, and yet when we read about its what do you call this, performance, quote unquote, or how it has been doing when it comes to addressing a lot of environmental issues, it also is probably on the same level as with the other advanced countries or even third world countries who are also battling the same type of problems. So um, as we all know, the U.S. is the current president Donald Trump is up for re-election. So what do you think would you suggest to him in terms of that which pressing environmental problem he needs to look at right now?
One of the main issues that we're facing that a lot of countries are aware of is the Paris Agreement. So Trump has initiated previously last year to withdraw from the Paris Agreement. And if you guys do not know, the Paris Agreement is a treaty basically from all of the surrounding countries worldwide. Not all of the countries are members, but they agree to reduce their carbon footprint, essentially, to reduce their emissions and how much fossil fuels that they use and how much they emit. So the Paris Agreement is basically a goal. Now, having withdrawn from that, that will no longer hold ourselves accountable for our emissions. So we will be able to use and emit as many emissions, output, and fossil fuels that we want. And that is without the environment in mind. And the reason Trump is removing from the Paris Agreement is because he believes that it negatively impacts our economy. So it's a price tag, essentially. Now, I believe there should not be a price tag on the environment and the health of your citizens and the citizens of the world. So I believe strongly in joining the Paris Agreement again. And again, the issue with the Paris Agreement as well, it's a great foundation for change. However, as you can see, a lot of the countries worldwide, we really didn't make that much of an impact. We've actually exceeded our maximum fossil fuel emissions that each country has set. So as a whole, the Paris Agreement just lacks ambition from each country. So we do have to work on that. However, withdrawing from it is not a good solution. So instead of withdrawing from it because of economy reasons and because of loss of jobs, that will not happen. Our economy will still thrive because if we join the Paris Agreement, we convert to solar energy, we'll be creating hundreds and thousands of new jobs. And it will increase the economy because we're going to have more revenue with our solar power, our energy storage, our new green technology that we'll be using, and we will have abundance more in our workplace, which will actually kind of kickstart the economy back up. So joining the Paris Agreement, in my eyes, is nothing but positive benefits.
So will you keep, having said that, will you keep that in mind as you vote this coming November 3?
Yes, absolutely. Another fun fact
So,
about me, I don't register as a Democrat or a Republican. I am an independent because I don't like to go one way or the other. I like to stand in my views and my views alone because I will agree with certain sides and I will disagree with certain sides. So being an independent, I cannot be swayed or pushed through either side. So I can stand my ground and kind of just really speak on my own voice.
ooh, I was just about to ask you. So are you now? So is it safe to say that you're voting for Biden this
Well,
coming elections? But then you said, okay, I'm independent. Okay, so for now, have you already made up your mind in terms of which person you'll be voting
I'm
on November 3?
100% not made up. As you know, we have the Democratic pool, the Republican, Libertarian, and Green Party. Just to throw this out there, I feel our Libertarian and Green Party do not get enough recognition as they deserve. I feel a lot of people obviously just vote Republican or Democrat, but there are a lot of benefits to the Libertarian and Green Party. And coming from a third party as such, you have fresh new views and new innovations and ideas. So I really think a lot of our country should kind of open their minds to other political affiliations and political parties. And you don't have to, I'm saying, vote for them, but just kind of be aware, read about them, read about their issues. And in the US, we have a website where multiple websites like ballotpedia.org, where you can look and compare each candidate from all four parties and specifically look at their issues and what they stand for. So that way you can make it easy on yourself and align your priorities with your candidate's priorities. So a lot of people do not vote because they think it's a burden or it's overwhelming. If you just go to that site, you will be able to see side by side the issues and their stance on that issue. So it's very quite easy to stay informed.
Yeah. So given with what you said, do you think it's about time that a third force coalition, like, being an independent or some sort of a party, just like, because for the past few decades or even, so many years already, decades, it has always been a two major political system shaping up our political views in the US. So do you think that it's about time that, a third force coalition should be put out there in the limelight just so voters could still have another option when it comes to voting for their future?
Yes, I do believe that because I'm just a firm believer in equality all around. So even when that comes to political parties, I feel each political party should have the equal amount of the equal platform that the Democratic and Republican parties get and the same outreach, but they do not. So I do believe that we should at least embrace the other political parties that are kind of in the shadows. And that's what a democracy is about. That is what the US represents. It's about your freedom of choice. So you should know all of your options so you can make an informed decision.
All right. I will never ask another follow up. You just said it there. Completely perfect. Okay, Jesuit Naga. Oh, Jesuit Paul Nugas is also watching. He also he is a baker who lives there also in New York. Hi, Jesuit.
A baker?
Hello. Yeah. Oh, no, no. I think he does. He has a day job, but he also bakes on his spare time. If you check out his Instagram, it's all about his cakes. Yeah, he
Ooh, I
bakes
love
good
cake.
cakes. I have to taste it. I got to know him when we got to know him during Miss Universe 2019 in Atlanta, Georgia, and even though I wasn't able to meet him personally, we were able to talk about. We were able to correspond with each other just through social media. So he has a question here. Wow, an article that was recently published. That was recently published mentioned deforestation as the top environmental issue in the U.S. What policies should be in place to resolve this?
There have been, let me read that. Wait, did you say deforestation or marine life? I'm so
Yes.
sorry.
No, no, no. Therefore, he says deforestation is the top environmental issue in the U.S. What policies should be in place to resolve this?
So deforestation is a major issue in the U.S., and there are many issues that come with that. As plants and trees, they create oxygen, and they also are in part of the precipitation cycle and the water cycle. So they create life, they supply life, and they are a food source for many species as well as us. So in order to fight for that, to fight for saving our forests, we really need to have wildlife reserves and refuge. So we have a lot of parks in the US that are protected by the government or by privately owned. And I really feel that we have to push for that. So in Alaska, if you are aware, that is really the last natural wilderness in the US. And it's near the Arctic Circle, so it also has a lot of tundra as well. It's very beautiful. But if you go to Alaska, that is the last place in the US that you'll actually be able to experience a natural life cycle that is unaltered by man. So having that, and with all of this deforestation, and we're pushing it onto that, we're going to disrupt every single life cycle. And having that be the remaining one left, I feel like we really need to preserve that. So if we can have the same policies set with our Alaskan wilderness and create more federal reserves and really kind of a landmark in more national parks, that would be able to deter a lot of deforestation. And if we can shift our products that come from deforestation, such as palm oil is one of the largest contributors to deforestation. And if we end up just shifting our resources, that could resolve the matter completely. There is no reason to completely destroy that much forest as significantly as much as we also waste our products as well. So a lot of that even ends up in landfills. So we're really overproducing, and by cutting down that much forest, it's just doing more harm than good. And I really believe if we are going to tear down forests, with every tree that you tear down, plant a new one. So that way we can just kind of recoup and recover very quickly. So if you are going to make an impact that way, make a positive impact to balance it out, because nature and the environment is all about balance.
Yeah, replanting is key. Yeah.
Yes.
What you take out, you put it back in.
Absolutely.
For the new generation to appreciate or benefit.
Absolutely.
I like that. I like that. Wow, wow. I'm learning so much from you. Palm oil.
You're so
Oh,
funny.
wow.
I love you.
Yeah, super, super. Wow, you're blowing me away right now. So he also has another question. So this time around, what can you say? Yeah, he says, very well said.
Thank you.
For sure, you'll ace the intelligence round of the competition very very soon. No doubt about it, Lindsay. I'm already telling you as
I have
early
to
as
work on
now.
my talking though. I talk a lot, so I need to condense.
But I do get where you're coming from because there's always a time limit for that, especially if you
Yes.
go through the intelligence round. They have a time limit. So
Yeah.
I do understand if you're gonna speak a little bit faster just to condense everything in one sentence or in a certain time limitation, in a time limit. So here he has another question. Ronald De Los Reyes has another question. What can you say this time around to China's expansion in the South China Sea that has caused massive destruction of marine life and corals as they build structures from these atolls and islands,
I
islets and atolls?
To answer that, I feel really goes hand in hand worldwide. We have a lot of issues because this also goes into territory with my advocacy on the water crisis. We do not have a lot of marine protected areas, and a lot of our water, our ecosystems that are affiliated with our water areas and our Everglades, for example, in the US, that's just majority water-based ecosystems. We are destroying those by cutting down the mangrove forest, the bush that falls right before the water. And we're using those to build structures and to really accommodate us in our lives and destroying the lives of the other species that are living there. And also with the overfishing and the nets that we use, I forget what it is actually called, the proper term, but we would have to kind of, instead of using the nets and the rifting that we do on the bottom of the sea, it is just destroying the coral reefs. And whenever we destroy those coral reefs, that is very difficult to get back. And as we can see in the Gold Coast, when that coral reef is gone, it's not going to come back. So a lot of with our marine life and the destruction that has been caused has been coming from our structures and from the what is it, the seafood industry and harboring the aquatic species that surround all of those in those ecosystems. So if we can work on kind of preserving the life with the mangrove forests, work on line fishing instead of rifting where we're completely destroying the coral reefs because the line net is completely dragging across the floor, taking everything with it, which is entire ecosystems in the coral reef. We would be able to save significantly a lot of destruction. And there are ways around it. That's the thing that a lot of people don't understand because a lot of people think in short-term goals instead of long-term. They are more money and more developmental hungry because they want to build those structures to accommodate us. But if you think long-term, that's not going to work out. And with our actions with global warming and with the sea levels rising, so the structures that are already being built near the water, eventually we're going to have to rebuild and build them higher because the sea level is going to rise. So a lot of people just have to think long term whenever it comes to the structures surrounding our sea lines and our shorelines. But there are definitely
Wow.
issues that we can fix, and they can still gain what they're looking for. They can still accomplish their goal without wreaking havoc on the ecosystems and the marine life.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I have no more follow-up question, but yeah, everything that you just said is really sound. It's something
Okay.
that can be done. It's something tangible, something that you can down if our authorities will just try to listen and sit down with you in terms of how you could really, help them out in
Because we
terms of
can
solving
accomplish,
these environmental issues.
yes, we can accomplish their goals if they want to build more industry and um, more structures for human development. We can still accomplish that. We just have to work around it and consider that there are other life forms out there.
Yeah, because nowadays with everything, with technology, modernity, it's all about expansion, building
Yes.
their bases. Yeah, without being mindful of the harmful effects it will generate to the environment, right? So, yeah, I have a lot of questions for you, but we're already running out of time. We're already talking for almost 45 minutes now, so I have to wrap this up. So, a few more questions left before we wrap this up. So, given everything that's going on right now with many pressing issues, do you think that, holding or organizing a pageant like Miss Earth, even at this time of pandemic, is a good move from the organization.
I do support that decision because this is a very difficult time for a lot of people. A lot of people are in furlough for their jobs. A lot of people have lost their jobs. They don't have much of an outlet or resources to cope physically or mentally or emotionally during this pandemic. So having this pageant out there also just gives people something to do, something to look forward, something to entertain them with, because there's not a lot going on, and it can kind of even build a sense of community because we are all working together. We're doing this from home and we're sitting at home just like they are, but we're really just trying to just put more positive energy out in the atmosphere with everyone surrounding this pandemic. And another great reason as well is climate change is a serious situation, and a lot of people don't understand that. In America, there was a study taken where only 59% of Americans consider global warming a serious issue, and only a third of adults worldwide have never heard of global warming. So this is a very severe issue that a lot of people are not educated about. And during this pandemic, a lot of people are thinking, should we really focus on the environment whenever we have this going on? The reality is we have to. And we have a lot of technology. We are multitaskers. We have a lot of innovators out there. We are able to multitask and handle both situations because the climate crisis is not going to wait. We are on a timeline, a strict timeline, and we have a deadline to meet because we are 1 degree away from our tipping point. So we cannot have this pandemic have us go backwards in combating the climate crisis. So we have to focus on doing this together. And with the pageant out there, we'd be able to advocate that cause and reach a lot more people, especially because people are online right now. So we even have a broader audience versus holding it in person.
So what I'm getting from you is that Miss Earth, it's okay for you for Miss Earth to push through this pageant not because you're competing, but because it has a higher purpose as
Oh,
to why they're
absolutely.
doing it. Yeah, in terms of spreading more awareness about their environmental problems.
Yes, because we have to combat this pandemic and the environmental issues at the same time. That is the only way. Because if we reach that 1 degree tipping point, we will have more frequent catastrophic floodings. We will already have a decrease in our already limited water supply. Entire ecosystems will be destroyed, and a third of all life on Earth will face extinction. So if we don't fix that now, that will be our future. So that is what we really have to focus on, as well as handling this pandemic, because we are intelligent beings and we have the capabilities to handle both.
Yeah, so it's a relevant competition.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think from now on we should look at Miss Earth as a pageant more than the glitz and glam that it offers,
Yes,
but
and that is
more.
why I chose Miss Earth, because it is more than a pageant.
It's a lifestyle.
Yes, it
It's
is.
it kind of for me. It's I want to say I'm almost about to say a leadership program, perhaps.
That's a good term. I agree with that. You develop
All
a lot
right.
of different qualities and you have the skill set, you develop the skill set in order to really push out your advocacy and know how to reach people, know how to target your audience, and know how to speak to them. So I completely agree with that.
So, last two questions. Ronald has another follow-up question. He really likes to test you. Do you think having everything that you said about Miss Earth holding its pageant right now, its edition, do you think that holding a virtual pageant can help reduce the carbon footprint as it
Oh,
reduces the travel of contestants in the pageant
yeah.
venue?
Yes, Ronald, 100%. As we've seen with this pandemic, we've seen the impact that us humans have on the environment. So a lot of people that have been able to work from home, we have seen what we can accomplish from home. We can telework, we can shop online, we can see our doctors virtually. There are so many things that we can do from the comfort of our own home that significantly reduces our carbon footprint. I think having everything virtual is actually a great option. And we've seen what is attainable, and we've seen what we can accomplish. So this pandemic has actually, I feel, opened our eyes to the things to not only how much our impact has on the environment, but what we can actually accomplish virtually while reducing our carbon footprint.
Give it a chance, in other words.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Wow. So, uh, before we end, another Miss Earth type of question. Your background, you are a lawyer who is
Well, not
about to
yet.
obtain. Hmm?
Not yet. I'm going to
Not
acquire
yet.
my degree. Yes.
Yeah, you're hoping to obtain your Juris degree, your Juris Doctorate degree in the near future to protect and to legislate and um, protect our environment. Now, if you were to ask this final question in Miss Earth, what type of, if you were given a chance to create a law for our environment, what would it be and why?
There are so many that I would love to implement and turn into legislation. We also have to think in terms of simplicity and something that will not overwhelm the people. I feel a great, easy change is to target our manufacturers and our big corporations. So if you take, for example, a car dealership. So if we tell all of our car manufacturers that from this year forward, we have to create hybrids or purely electric vehicles. So that only gives us an option to buy a hybrid or an electric vehicle, reducing our use on fossil fuels. So that over time, that will add up and that will significantly reduce our overall worldwide consumption of fossil fuels. So it's a little legislation like that, where really people will not really notice an impact or notice their impact on their daily life that will have a great impact on the environment. Because you can still have a luxury car, you can still have a fast car, a beautiful car, while it's still a hybrid or an electric vehicle. Now that is small term thinking, but to not overwhelm people and to fight for environmental protection, a lot of people are overwhelmed. So I feel legislation in terms of small behavior modifications in the industry and manufacturer sector will have a great impact immediately and long term. So it's little things like that I feel we can really tweak, and we can add a lot of that, which will make a significant impact.
All right. Wow. Give you the crown now. Last few questions. I keep saying it. So many questions are coming in. Sorry. Jesuit Nugas, the baker,
Okay.
who's a cardiologist by day and a baker by night,
Oh.
has a follow-up question just for fun. Adam, I want to ask her a question that was asked in a previous Miss Earth edition. Which do you prefer, sunrise or sunset?
Oh, that is such a good question. I've never thought of that before. I've never even heard that asked. Now, sunrise, I enjoy. Oh, I can look at this both ways. So I'm a real firm believer. If you're having a bad day, there's always tomorrow. So all you have to do is focus on getting through this day. And whenever you see the sunrise, you know, okay, tomorrow is a brand new day. I'm ready to tackle it head on. It's a new day, new mentality. I'm going to go, full force. And then whenever you have the sunrise, that's also a reminder that today I can be whoever I want. I can do what I want. I have a second chance to just take life by the horns and go at it. But in terms to really think about it, I would have to say sunrise, because when you do think of sunsets, when I think of sunset, it's gorgeous and beautiful, but I think of end, like an ending. So whenever I see a sunrise, because honestly, we are never promised tomorrow. And whenever you see a sunrise, you know that you have tomorrow, because tomorrow is today, essentially. So when you see that sunrise, it just signifies life and it signifies the beginning. And it just brings a smile to my face. And I honestly love waking up early just to see the sunrise. I never really go see the sunset because it's just kind of there. But I'm a firm believer in waking up early and seeing the sunrise, because that's the beginning of a new day. It's the beginning of a new life. So I would choose the sunrise.
Wow, just wow. You know what? Wow, you're so knowledgeable, very knowledgeable about the environment. I mean, I want to ask you, I want to go to the next round, which is the hashtag round, but for lack of time, I will no longer push through with it. I have to follow Linnell's order. There's a time limit. So, yeah, so USA is really serious in winning its first Miss Earth crown. You guys almost achieved it last year with Imani. So, are you some sort of pressure to do
Oh,
well
yeah.
in this competition?
I feel a lot of pressure. Again, as I'm new, I didn't really know the history of Miss Earth and the contestants. So learning that Miss Earth has never been obtained by an American before in history, that was a lot of pressure. So, and especially because I hear that there's an overwhelming amount of support for me as well that I appreciate so much. So that kind of, it makes me work harder, and it makes me really want to give everything I have, and to not just prove to myself that I can do it, but to make everyone that supports me proud. So to be able to take home the crown for the first ever American, as an American, that would be, I can't even think about it. It would be so amazing. It's a lot of pressure, but I work best under pressure. So maybe this is good.
I have a fun follow-up question, but
Yes. Go ahead.
Joe Biden winning the U.S. presidency or the Miss Earth crown?
That's
No, just kidding. Don't answer.
Oh, that is actually, yeah, that's a hard question.
Okay. Let me rephrase that. Miss Earth crown or world peace?
But I wouldn't mind answering. Well, I can answer both of these. To be completely honest, I would choose a proper leader, and I would choose world peace, because I'm one person. I know one person can make a difference, but having someone that is in a position, having like a US president, to have somebody that is a leader and that can change the world and is more likely to do so, I would 100% want that to happen. And for world peace, that is something we've been trying to fight for eternity. I would never have anything stand in the way of that. I would 100% choose that.
I have a different answer.
Yes.
If you ask me, I'll choose the Miss Earth crown, so that if I get the Miss Earth crown, I will. I think it will no longer. It will no longer be irrelevant, because if I win Miss Earth, if I will have the Miss Earth platform, I will have a bigger platform to educate people to vote for them.
I absolutely thought of that. I 100% thought of that as well.
But I realized the crowning. But I realized the finals night, the virtual finals, will be on November 29th, almost a month after the U.S. election.
Yes. But no, I 100%. I obviously, if I would have that crown, I would have that platform, I would be able to reach so many people. But again, I wouldn't have a governmental role. I wouldn't have the ability to pass legislation unless I worked as a governmental official. So again, speaking in terms of bettering our community and our environment and our world, we need our officials to do that. That is why it is so important to vote, because our voice is what triggers change. So to be in that official position, that is what you want to be. So if I could even put myself into an official position, I would do that, because then I know I actually have the tools to make a difference and make that change. Because as Miss Earth, I would love if we had the ability to implement legislation with the Miss Earth title. That'd be amazing. So we can't. So that's why I really believe having somebody that is in that role that can actually induce change, that's why I would choose them. But what I can do, I can profess change, and I can encourage it to be able to write on a piece of paper and pass a bill. So that's why I would choose the official.
All right. On that note, I want to ask you more questions, but 2 minutes before 1 hour. Thank you so much,
Thank
Miss
you, Adam.
Lindsey, for giving the time in doing this interview with us on Sash Factor. You just confirmed your favoritism.
Thank you,
for
Adam,
the upcoming pageant with this interview. I swear the comments we are being flooded with a lot of comments right now. Otapwat Patawa is saying Lindsey is so charismatic. Miss Earth will definitely have a great competition this year. He also says, oh my God, she is in it to win it.
Thank you so much.
Mikey is saying Miss USA for the win.
Thank you, guys. That honestly means so much to me. I'm like overwhelmed right now. Thank you.
I think you have to prepare for your answer with your interview with him very, very soon. Mr. Rafa Delfin is saying no, vote for Trump. He has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Engage a debate with him when he's going to interview very, very soon. So
All right, Rafa. I'm coming for you. Rafa. Let's do this.
Jesuit, our pleasure. It is my pleasure to guest her on our show. So yeah, you just sealed, confirmed your favoritism for the upcoming virtual pageant. No words. How we are so blown away, not just by your beauty, but by your substance
Thank you so
as
much.
a candidate. I mean, it's obvious that you're really beauty and brains combined. So thank you. No words. Thank you so much. It has been a wonderful pleasure getting to know you in the
It's been all mine. It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much, Adam. You are amazing. I love you. You're so funny. It's so nice to speak to you. I'm so happy we were able to do this tonight. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been amazing to interact with you as well. So I really love these interviews. I do.
yeah. So yeah, I hope when I visit New York I could really, see you. So
Yes, yes,
wow.
yes, yes. Please come.
So
Come see me.
once
We can go uh eat some cakes with the baker.
yes with Jesuit, yeah, let's
Yes.
hang. Yeah, so yeah, so no words, just wow, just wow. Keep it up, whatever you're doing right now. We're seeing
Thank
it.
you.
You're on the right track, girl.
Thank you. You too. You're an amazing interviewer and an amazing host. So thank you so much.
All right. On that note, good night over there, Lindsay.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay safe and hydrated.
Yes, you as
And
well. Thank
we
you,
wish
everyone.
we wish you all the best in the
Thank you.
upcoming Miss Earth competition. Any message to all your fans as a final word to all your fans and supporters who are cheering for you in the upcoming Miss Earth competition?
Honestly, it's been absolutely amazing. And again, as I say this a lot, but I'm brand new to pageantry, so I really don't know what to do, what to expect. So to see an overwhelming amount of support honestly means the world to me, because it kind of proves to me that I'm doing something. I'm meant to do this. I'm on the right track. I'm giving it all I have, and people are responding. So to be able to interact and have a relationship with someone like that, that really truly supports you and genuinely wants to see you succeed, I can't thank you enough. That means the world to me, because having you guys out there and telling me that I can do this, even though I'm brand new and I have my doubts at times, just hearing your support makes me just want to keep going forward. So thank you so much. I appreciate that more than ever. And I hope I can continue to earn your support. And really, if I am blessed to have that title, I would make you guys just so proud, and I would want to just give everything I have. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
America is so proud of you right now.
I hope so.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lindsay.
Thank you, guys. It's
Good
been
night
amazing.
over there. Wonderful. I mean, wow. Just wow, wow, bow,
Thank
wow.
you,
Like
Adam.
the crown. Eye on the prize.
Yeah, I'm
Keep
trying.
your eye on, yeah, keep your eye on the prize, all right?
Absolutely. Full
And we can
2020 focus.
we're we're expecting, we can't wait for everything that you have in store for us very, very soon. Yeah.
You have to tune in. I feel like you guys are going to love it, so I can't wait.
We're gonna see your face for the next 2 months,
Yeah.
nonstop. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
All
All right. Take care over there.
right.
Stay safe
Bye-bye.
and hydrated.
Yes, you
Virtual
too.
hugs and kisses all
Have
the
a
way
great
from
night.
Manila right now.
Bye, Adam. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, guys.